Well, welcome back to Wall Street Silver. We have David Stein with us today from Kuya Silver. Thanks for joining me, David.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jim.
You know, I get the sense from Twitter, from Reddit, everyone's a little bit upset about silver prices right now. Things are just going sort of sideways. Are you ticked off that silver's not $30 an ounce? What are you thinking? You've been in this industry a long time.
Well, I think because I've been in the industry a long time, it's a lot harder to tick me off.
You don't seem like the type of guy who gets ticked off. It's just not your personality, right?
True. But look, I guess in some respects that we didn't have more of a follow through from the momentum earlier in the year is a little frustrating. I can't lie about that. However, we're in now in a situation where definitely the momentum is waning or has waned. And this happens. There's a lot of psychology in the market, and a lot of other stuff that's going on, macro, trading related, technical related. So this is just part of being a long-term investor, is sort of riding the roller coaster of these ups and downs. And one thing that I think is worth pointing out is this particular period in the year where we're, sort of in the June and July where we are exactly right now, this is actually typically a low for precious metals for the year. And, it's a sort of a seasonality factor that shows up more often than not, year after year, not every year, but more often than not. And there's arguments about why it happens. But what we do observe, if you look at sort of the month by month change in price, you'll see that sometime in either July or early August, you have your low. And then typically there's a seasonal rally in the precious metals in August, September, October. So looking forward to that. And then obviously if we can get some, macro news that supports bigger movement into silver investment, then we could set up for quite a strong second half of the year, which obviously would be amazing.
Well, that leads us into Kuya's news. I understand you guys released some drilling results today. Let me share those real quick. Why don't you walk us through what you finished your 5,000 meter drilling program? Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, look, it's our first drill program on Bethania, which was mining high grade silver up until 2016. And we're really thrilled with the results. I mean, we got some spectacular high grade intercepts of silver, plus other, it's polymetallic. So we've got some gold, copper, lead, zinc in there as well, but it's mostly silver. So very happy with those. And then more importantly, I would say, we were pretty consistently hitting mineralization at depth. In the main veins, the ones that have been the main producers historically from the mine, and like Doce de Mayo and Espanola, Beta Victoria as well. We got some great results from that vein too at depth. So we're extended at depth. That was mission number one. We also locally we found some much thicker intercepts than we ever expected based on the historical results. The maximum thickness was about 1.7 meters. In the mine, we had up to almost 7 meters of core length in one intercept in the Espanola vein. So really exciting to see those thicker intercepts. And then equally important, or perhaps maybe more important, we're finding a lot of new veins as well in this drilling. So there were some veins that were noted in previous reports, but with no sampling, no data on them. So we found those and we were able to drill out and get some good results on those. And then we discovered a few new ones ourselves too. So we basically went from 6 veins that had been known and mined to 20 veins identified by our geologists now. Then that's just in the immediate Bethania mine area. That doesn't include the hilltop zone to the east, where we also did some drilling and got a few hits, but we didn't drill there very much.
Understood. So this is the gist of what you're trying to tell us here is you basically confirmed everything that you suspected was there.
Yep.
And in general, it came out a little bit thicker than you were expecting in terms of the veins that you found. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the positive surprises for us, some thicker veins or zones, I should say, within the veins, which is positive, and also the new veins was a really positive surprise for us as well.
Gotcha. So what do we have to look forward to for like the next 3 to 6 months for Kuya Silver?
Well, I mean, we've actually learned through this drill program that there's a lot more mineralization near surface than we thought or expected. You know, coming to basically a historical mine. I guess, you know, sort of thought that the shallow stuff would be mined out, but it turns out it hasn't. So so I think we're going to be doing a lot more detailed surface work, and especially these veins, the veins in particular that come right to surface, both in the hilltop zone and where we did more sort of prospecting work earlier this year. We're going to do more detailed work that gives us better, you know, better widths and grades there. And then same in the main Bethania zone. So we can learn a lot from that very, you know, relatively inexpensive work, and that will help guide our second phase drilling program that we'll tackle in the next couple of months. So I would say there, you know, that would be the order of priority for us. And then we also want to do the same thing at Carmelita, which also has veins that come right to surface, as you know, as we know when we announced the acquisition. So we can basically do almost the same type of program at Carmelita. Maybe it will be a month or so delayed because obviously, you know, we gotta do one or the other right now. But we'll do both eventually. And so we've got a lot of exciting work to do on these two prospects, and it's stuff, and these two projects, and it's stuff that we can do relatively quickly.
Well, just to remind everyone who's listening, Carmelita is the other hill on the other side of the valley, correct? It's like 2 or 3 kilometers away.
Correct. It's 3 kilometers away. Vein system that we mapped at surface is 1 kilometer in strike length so far, and which is basically the same as Bethania. But historically, less mining has occurred there. It's more of an artisanal mine, whereas Bethania was more like a formal small mine. And so you know, a little less data on it, but on surface it looks really similar.
Yeah, gotcha. And the plan is to pop the when you build, is to build right between the two of them and feed the ore to both.
Yeah, where we permitted, it's basically on the Bethania hill that we permitted our mill on the side of the hill. So we can basically move the ore down and use the force of gravity to our advantage. So that's how we engineered it. But yeah, a 3 kilometer truck haul in a valley with relatively little relief is very easy to do. So that's something we can do if and when we get ore from Carmelita.
Understood. You know, David, all of the mining stocks or the explorer stocks are way down, especially in the past couple of weeks. But you guys are just coming out with these great drill results that are just confirming everything that you were hoping. You know, what are you seeing right now? Kuya is pretty well funded right now. You guys are already cashed up.
Yep.
You don't need to go back to the market anytime soon. You know, is this the time to buy? What's going on with Kuya Silver stock?
Well, you know, in my personal opinion, we had sort of a bit of we had a correction due to the Peru, you know, geopolitical situation back in April that was sort of more exclusive to some of the Peru stocks like ours, and then everyone else sort of followed us down in I guess it would have been May and June. So the whole sector, you know, is corrected, and basically the smaller the company, the more it's corrected. There's guys who are off more than 50% from their highs earlier in the year. So look, I mean, I think if you like a company and you've got, you know, the seasonality would point to a good time to buy. You know, definitely a correction for us. You know, nothing, you know, really fundamental has changed other than just the sentiment in the sector. kind of, and the momentum died. So, if you take a longer term view, what I would just personally recommend, investors is to dollar cost average. You don't have to buy your whole allotment of a stock all in one day, especially with transaction fees. They're so low now. You can buy it, you can sort of drip feed your buy orders over several days or weeks. And, then you don't necessarily catch the bottom that way. But you don't miss the opportunity either.
But what I think a lot of people don't realize with Kuya is you're not an exploration company at this point. You're a near-term junior producer that's coming online. And I mean, I just find your stock ridiculously cheap based on what you got. Now, what are you scaling the mill for and your infrastructure to produce annually in terms of ounces?
So we're kind of, we have to obviously see what happens with some of the work we're doing. But look, I mean, in a range of a few million ounces of silver a year is what we're aiming for. In my opinion, as an investor myself, I think that's what you need to be, kind of a material mining company in the silver space, which is a much smaller sector than any of the other, a lot of the other mining sectors. So with that kind of production profile, I think we can, it will differentiate us from, the vast majority of the other, smaller caps out there. I think investors prefer production. The generalist investors, I should say, prefer production. It's something they can understand, cash flow, production, a lot easier to understand than drill results, frankly. So it's something we're very focused on.
Do you have a time frame that you're for building and when you think first production might be for Kuya Silver?
Look, I think at this point, we'd be looking at, starting building later this year, and being in production by, let's say, the middle of next year. Gotcha. Very, very broadly.
So around 12 months from now, you think it's possible Kuya could be doing your first real production of silver out of here?
Yeah, we've definitely had a few delays, earlier this year related to just things being slower due to COVID and other factors. So, kind of things that they're not really in our control. But, that's the beauty of I guess, being a near-term producer, not having a huge project to build, is that, when we get all the ducks in a row, it's going to be really fast.
Understood. Well, thank you very much for the update on Kuya. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Jim.